Hi, guys. Thank you for joining me here on the baseline. I hope you guys are having a great day, great night, great life. So, Donald Trump is demanding $350 billion in cash from South Korea. So, let that sink in. That's not a parody headline. That's not The Onion. That's an actual story coming out of US Korea relations right now. And when you hear a number that absurd, your first instinct is probably the same as mine. Laugh and then check twice to make sure it's actually real. But here's the bigger picture. These kinds of demands don't just make allies roll their eyes. They send shockwaves through economies, through supply chains, and the very idea of American credibility. Because when a superpower starts acting like a loan shark, the world, it just doesn't feel safe. It feels like the clock is ticking on an empire. Now, let's speak it as plainly as we can. Trump wants South Korea to hand America $350 billion up front, like you'd pay for a used car in cash, except the car is the size of an entire national budget. Now, why does this matter to you, to me, to us? Because deals like this never stay overseas. They come back home as stalled factories, delayed jobs, and instability that trickles down into your bills, our retirement, and your future. Now, Korea is one of America's biggest partners in tech and manufacturing. If they pause investment or decide America isn't worth the headache, which a lot of countries are feeling like right now, that's going to hit workers in Georgia and Michigan before it ever hits the headlines. And here's the crazy thing. $350 billion is more than South Korea's entire annual defense budget. Trump is asking for more money they don't even have. So imagine if your boss said, hey, I need 50 years of your salary in advance or you're fired. I mean, that's not negotiation. That's nonsense with a gun on the table. And Koreans know this. One official called the demand impossible and objectively unrealistic. Another used a traditional saying, it's like a ghost trying to eat raw rice. Now picture that for a second. Casper, the friendly ghost, with no body, no teeth, trying to chew unprocessed grain that even humans can't swallow. That's how absurd this looks from Seoul, Korea's point of view. But the laughter only covers part of this truth, right? Because behind the jokes is frustration. Frustration with an America that treats partnerships like protection rackets. Pay us, or maybe our troops will leave. Pay us, sorry guys, pay us, or maybe your factory stall. Pay us, or maybe we won't protect you. That's not how alliances are supposed to work. And people in Korea are asking the obvious question. If this is what America offers, maybe we don't need it. Maybe we should build our own defenses. Maybe we cut our own deals. Now, think about that. For decades, Washington's leverage came from this simple assumption. Allies need us more than we need them. But what happens when allies start running the math and decide, actually, that price might be too high? And that's the danger in moments like this. Trump thinks he's showing strength, but what he's really doing is daring allies to imagine life after America. And Koreans are already gaming it out. Some politicians argue they should stand firm and resist. Others, they play along. They sign something symbolic and then wait Trump out for the next administration. And still, others whisper, maybe it's time to invest in independent defense, maybe even nuclear capability. Because if America looks unstable, why not prepare for a future without it? Meanwhile, back in the US, the fallout is already real. In Georgia, construction on Hyundai's massive factory is tangled in visa issues. Skilled Korean technicians who were supposed to finish the job can't get clearance. And Trump's rhetoric on top, and you've got both governments pointing fingers while American workers are sitting in limbo. That's the part no one talks about. When Washington plays empire games, It's regular people, not billionaires, who get burned. And here's the part that should keep all of us up at night. This isn't a one-off. It's not a one-off gaffe. It is a preview. Because when power starts slipping, leaders start overcompensating. They demand more faster, and they demand more upfront. They shake down friends because they can't control their rivals. And the world sees it for what it is, desperation. And when the world sees desperation, they start looking for alternatives. Now, Korea, they have options. They can deepen ties with Japan, with Europe, with China. They can diversify away from Washington. And every time an ally chooses that path, America's position weakens. Not in some abstract foreign policy seminar, but in the factories, the farms, and the paychecks of everyday Americans. So here's where we have to zoom out and take a breath, right? Because America used to walk into a room and set the rules. Today, our leaders walk in and demand impossible sums that make allies laugh on national television. And that's not strength. That's the image of an empire trying to crash out before the credit card gets declined. And the tragic irony with all this, by making these outrageous demands, Trump isn't securing America's future. He's accelerating its decline. Because every time we act like a bully, we remind the world that they can, and maybe should, prepare to move on without us. But let's not end in that type of despair, because there's something empowering in seeing the game this clearly. Because for decades, Americans have been told alliances are sacred and unquestionable. Now the cracks are starting to be obvious. And when cracks show, you have a choice. You can ignore them and hope the structure holds, or you can face them head on and start demanding leaders who build and not bluff. So let's leave with this, right? Trump's $350 billion demand isn't really about South Korea. It's about testing the limits of American leverage in a world that's changing faster than Washington would like to admit. And if Korea says no, and let's be honest, I mean, who wouldn't? It sets a precedent. Other allies are going to notice this. And once the bluff is called enough times, the whole performance, it collapses. So the question is simple, but it's a massive question. What happens when America's allies stop believing the show? Do they drift quietly into new partnerships? Or do they build a new order that leaves us watching from the sidelines? Thank you guys so much for watching The Baseline. I appreciate you guys watching. Leave a comment in the section below. Do I have this all right? Do I have it all wrong? I value your guys' opinion, and let me know what you guys think. And we'll catch you on the next round of The Baseline. All right. Cheers, everybody.